Check microphone 1, 2. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Mark, onfuna oba tonfuna? Mark. Ali Muzeeyi Kenya. Simanyi oba mumpulira bulungi oba temumpulira. Olunaku olwaleero. Mark, olunaku olwaleero kye tugenda okwogerako kintu abantu kye mwetaaga okumanya. Naye nga tetunaakutandika, nyongera okukujjukiza yenna eyakatwegattako nti enteekateeka egenda bulungi nnyo. Ndaba abasajja n'abakyala abeetala okututuusaako byonna bye tugenda okuba nabyo olunaku olwaleero. Bwe mba munfuna bulungi nga n'eddoboozi livaayo bulungi, kye nja okusaba nti mujja kuntegeeza. Lwansonga sisobola kubeera wano nga nenjogera ate nga simaliriza. Kiba kyabuvunaanyizibwa okuntegeeza nti sawundi waffe avaayo bulungi, naddala omuntu yenna aba yakulidde oba yakoze ku nteekateeka ey'okuyisaamu eddoboozi. Eddoboozi bwe liba liyiseemu, olwo mba sirina kirala kyonna kye nnyongerako. Awo kati awo tugenda kuba tufuna babbandi nabo tutesitinge tuwulire tutambula tutya. Zirikirya Mark, okyayagala njogere ebigambo Mark, kirikirya neyongera okwogera oba sirina kwogera? Kale Mark, ataanyizeewa omanyi awo kati bw'oba onfuna awo nange mba nvaawo wano ne tuleke tufune ebbandi nayo etuyisizeemu tusobole okufuna sawundi omulungi, tube nga bwe tutandika tetudda mabega. Mukulu wa Muza, kansuubire enteekateeka eyo nayo ogikozeeko olw'ensonga twagala kuyisaamu tulabe eddoboozi lijja litya.
Charlotte, it's 6 years. How do we end up here?
Yeah, I actually ended up here because I got inspired by this lawyer in a novel I read, and he quit his, career to support homeless people, and he was, doing this work, and it really transformed him into a better person. And at that moment, I realized that I also wanted to do the same for my life, and I think that informed the path I took on later on in my life.
And I remember meeting you at Educate. Is that how you ended up at Educate?
Yes, actually, after that I ended up becoming a teacher, and as a teacher I felt I wasn't fulfilled, and I was missing something, so I decided to join Educate to look for something inspiring and challenging, and that's how I ended up shaping and developing young people to become the leaders and entrepreneurs in Africa.
And I was excited by that vision. Thanks for working on it all the way in New York. I returned after 10 years in the US, and I heard of Educate and nurturing leaders and entrepreneurs. And I came because my purpose was to nurture those leaders myself, as having also grown up in the rural communities where I had lost my family of 7 and orphaned, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I remember joining you, and you were so excited about doing something that would shape their minds better. You mentioned something around they are not coming in prepared for the world of work or the future of work.
Yes, because the education system at that moment I felt was not really preparing young people for the world of work. And so I started thinking about what is the problem, and that's when I did some research and realized that about 70% of children who enroll in primary drop out before completion. And what makes it worse is that about 7 out of 10 children cannot read and write.
Yes, and you shared deeply that even their arithmetic, by the way, their mathematics was so low that about almost over 60% of those were not able to complete a P2 mathematics question. And that took us to, I remember us going with you to Ntumura, and you said we needed to follow this child, Nyakato.
Yes.
And I remember you followed this child, and it really changed our life.
It did, and that's one of my fondest memories, because I had to walk 10 kilometers, to shadow Nakato and experience what she goes through as a student in that school. And when I go to her home, I found her mother who had really big dreams for Nakato. And I think while I was, on that journey with her, she mentioned something that really transformed my life and also informed the way that we train and recruit fellows currently. Yes. And she mentioned about this teacher, Margaret, who really cared deeply about her, and she always shared with her a snack at break time, and that's the reason why she braved the rain that moment.
Yes,
that morning,
come in the
so
rain.
that she can come and meet teacher Margaret.
Yes, and she would come in the rain, and she would be so drenched, but that
about you. I've been thinking about you. Say, I've been thinking about you. I've been thinking about you. Yeah, she pow pow. I heard we must have been strong strangers. Mm. I watched you walking away. He was my one temptation. Oh, I did not want him to stay. Deep down, I'm still confused about you. Oh, baby. should stay, I will live in your way. Yes, I'll go, but I know I will think of you every step of my way. And I will always love you. I will always love you. My darling, you bittersweet memories. That is all I'm taking with me. So goodbye. Please don't cry. We both know I'm know that you need, and I will always love you. I will always love you. I hope life treats you kind, and I hope you have all you dream of, and I wish you joy and happiness. But above all this, I wish you love. kusuwanga nyimba we nyimba sibanyamirembe bonyiga bonyiga we bakutonda nkwagale nkwagale nze nkwagale katinuneko nkwagale 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 baby chilabiko linakapesa 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 yo ebuli wanyika kapesa wenyiza kapesa nenefesero olina kapesa akapesa yo ebuli wanyika kapesa eyangenda nakuwabira balayingenda nakunyigira nakunya musego kuranira anyokukabira wampira wateka mutageti wagala n'ebitali na mu bajeti kanajo nagenda nti I'm already never worried ngenda simokunya tukemu buli kimu wokukunya kuwame kutwale kutegeyo omale mwena kunganya kuyagala buyagazi mokukunya kuwane kusude kuyitamanya ebinene nebitabukira nebitabukira bitabukanga toliyo ebituma nebitabukira bitabukira nze toliyo kirabiko linakapesa 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 kwebulirwa nyiga kapesa nze kapesa nenefeseno olina kapesa akapesa kwebulirwa nyiga kapesa etakapoinya balikolemwe mumbwa saba balikolemwe mumbwa nengako nemusunganze nemodaga pozinexela bebi nayizuyimba sewenkosuwanga nyimba wenyimba sibanyamirembe bonyiga bonyiga webakutonda nkwagale kwagale senkwagale katineko nkwagale kwagale kwagale my baby chilabiko linakapesa linakapesa akapesa yo kwebulirwa nyiga kapesa onyiza kapesa nenefesero olina kapesa akapesa yo kwebulirwa nyiga kapesa come on kutomeza nebisenge
I'm so addicted to him and I got sent Telecon expiry date. Will you cassette? I'm a little bit closer, baby. Sembera, one cousin and cheja. Zisuja kubeno, jala kubeno. Take care, Zisuja kubeno, jala kubeno. Take care. Come a little bit closer. Wasembera, wankuzana chejo. Zesija kubeno, jangala kubeyo. Tekeyo, zesija kubeno, jangala kubeyo. Tekeno, push it to the corner and take it slow. I wanna take you down to the floor. Push it to the corner and take it slow. I wanna take you down to the floor. Nazaliwa kukwagala, and jagalo take and kumatala. I was born to love you, take a kumatala. Nazaliwa kukwagala, take a kumatala. I was born to love you, take a kumatala. I was born to love you. Take a kumatala. Nazali wako kwagala. Take a kumatala. I was born to love you. Take a kumatala. Oh baby, when you go, sigala wawe. Kulinda kachiro. Omukwano leteno. Usinga bali abasoka bali bamala mulamu. Kakulinde kote bucheyo gwe wekane tera masanyu. Oh baby, push it to the corner, take it slow. I wanna take it down to the floor. Push it to the corner, take it slow. I wanna take you down to the floor. Nazali wako kwagala, ndiyo njagalo take na kumatala. I was born to love you, take a kumatala. Nazali wako kwagala, take a kumatala. I was born to love you, take a kumatala. Oh baby, push it to the corner and take it slow.
oh no no. Celebration no fire. I want to know my child, I want to know one. Life is so sweet, Hosanna. So did you make the people thank God? And I'm turn on from God. Na kingdom by the people thank God. Come out, Jessica, come on. Oh, did you make the people thank God? And I'm turn on from God. Na kingdom by the people thank God. Come out, Jessica, come on. Ah, thank God. When you come to the night party, thank God. Ah, thank God. When you move your body, thank God. Yeah, come on. Make a wish and shall we make it happen. Make a wish and shall we make it happen again. So when you move your body, baby, get ready. Get ready. So when you move your body, baby, get ready. Get ready. Now did you make the people thank God? And I'm going to tell you, I'm from board. Now everybody singing Hosanna. Come out, Jessica, come down. So did you make the people thank God? And I'm tell you no more from board. The kingdom by the people thank God. Come out, Jessica, come down. Ah, thank God. When you come to the night party, thank God. Ah, thank God. When you move your body, thank God. Ah, thank God. When you come to the night party, thank God. Ah, thank God. When you move your body, thank God. Ah, thank God.
Thank you so much to the band for entertaining us. So I'd like to ask that the first thing we do is clap for them. Good afternoon, and welcome to this celebration and showcase of the incredible work that Teach for Uganda is doing to impact Uganda's education system. We are excited to host you and trust that you will have a great time as we celebrate the impact that we have achieved over the last 5 years and reveal to you what the future looks like for us. My name is Benjamin Rukwenje, and I will be your host this afternoon. Incidentally, I am also the first person that the co-founders, James and Charlotte, hired in 2017 as the head of recruitment. And I guess this is a sign that I didn't do a bad job of that role because they invited me back today. To start us off, I'd like to request you to stand up for the anthems. The guys at the machines, my voice is not good, so let's play the anthems. Thank you. You can take your seats. If you aren't excited about tonight, I promise that that's about to change. And to start us off, I'd like to invite the co-founder and executive director of Teach for Uganda, Mr. James Kasaga Naitwe, to welcome us and make his remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Benjamin. Can you hear me? Thank you, Benjamin. Our government representatives here, Mr. Tabra, our wonderful partners, as you can see on the screen, and especially those who may be here, DHL, Ernst & Young, and others who really are in pipeline. Our wonderful global partner, Teach for All, Wendy Cope and your team, our board members who enable the governance of Teach for Uganda to work, our team at Teach for Uganda, the fellows, our alumni, and of course, the chief guests, our children. Welcome to Beyond 5. I think we should all be clapping by now. Welcome to Beyond 5 at Teach for Uganda. My job is an easy one because the work has been done. For over 6 years, over 6 years, that's why we say Beyond 5, I remember us really starting out very, very humbly. Two people with a vision that started in the rural fields of Butuntumura in Luwero, central of Uganda. And we were fired up with the unquenchable thought that leadership for education in our country could work. But why did we care so much? Personally, I was a young man, just like those you see right there from our schools, who had lost my family, my parents, an entire family of 7 due to HIV and AIDS. By the age of 10, believe it or not, about 30 years ago, I was the only one raised by a grandmother. And the future looked bleak. Friends, the future looked bleak. Today, I am here in a tie. My grandmother could not read or write, but there was one person who stood in the gap. The teacher that really cared that Kasaga, this little boy, skinny boy from Kashari, would thrive. And that teacher connected with my grandmother and really shared that there is this inquisitive young boy who comes here barefooted every day, and I believe he has a future. And just as the children you see there, that teacher made a difference. And by 1994, I know now you can tell my age, I was graduating primary school, actually with the best grades. And the government of Uganda gave me a scholarship. That scholarship set me on a path to come to Kampala and be able to go to a great high school. That set me on a path to go to the United States and study there to get a college education. That is the same path that made me, all those years in New York, in the cold, in Washington, D.C., as I learned, I remembered that there were children like these ones in our midst and many in our communities that needed that kind of future. So today, my work is simple. We have all of you, our partners, welcome. And I'm grateful to you for those who have been with us for the long journey, like our U.S. Embassy that started with us, our friends from the embassy. Welcome, because this work would not be possible without you. I also want to say we are grateful to our cohorts of fellows, cohort 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we are bringing on 5. Without those fellows, we wouldn't have the impact we have, or even speak of the alumni that we are speaking about today. Without those fellows, we wouldn't be in Luwero, and then after the minister saw the impact and called us to go to Mayuge, and then Namutumba, and now we are going to Kayunga. It is because of the young leaders that believed in that vision, that believed in that we too, who have had an opportunity of an excellent education, can one day support our children to have a future that we all believe in. And that's, for me, that's what excites me. And so that could not have worked without the team. We have a wonderful team here that made this happen. And so I'm grateful again to the team of Teach for Uganda. That can't work without the board. The Teach for Uganda governance board, that can't work without the fuel, the resources that make it work. That could not work without the government. So you will see here that the theme is really collective leadership. And it will take collective leadership for us to achieve that mission that says that we are here to nurture leaders committed to advancing equitable access to quality education for all our children in low-income communities. So thank you for coming. I want to share this wonderful quote by Kofi Annan that always reminds me why we are here and why Uganda's future belongs to our hands when we work together. I see people in the institutions. Welcome, our friends from institutions. Sean Clark, I see you here. Welcome. But Kofi Annan said, education is a human right with immense potential to transform. On its foundation rests the cornerstone of freedom, democracy, and sustainable human development. Ladies and gentlemen, hear me out. Freedom. Freedom to achieve your dreams. Freedom that you were born in Kashari, in a rural village with no clean water or electricity, that you could walk barefooted to school and still stand here at Serena and speak to wonderful people like you. That is the freedom that education gives. That is the freedom that I'm able to stand here and actually speak. That is the freedom that took me miles to the US, where we met Wendy Cope, who is here from Teach for All and Teach for America. So that is the freedom that we hope that we all together would bring, not only for our communities in rural, Ruwero, Butuntumura, whoever, but across the country. These children here, let me share just a small story. There's a young man here, Francis. When we started in Butuntumura, about 6 years ago, he was also raised by a grandmother, walking barefooted to school, and one day we brought Aruharo Moses and Frida Aduno, who sat in the classroom. They didn't just sit in the classroom, they actually went out and sought out the parents and actually told the grandmother and the single mother that your son could make it. Francis wants to be a doctor. But then COVID hit, but they still learned through community cluster learning pods by Teach for Uganda fellows, where they would walk and meet where Francis is in his home. Francis the other day graduated from Butuntumura Umeya Primary School down in Central Ruwero. Francis still holds that vision. He wants to be a doctor. He came to Rahara and said, Moses, but now I have the first grade. In the last 20 years, we've never had a first grade in Butuntumura. I am the one with the first grade, but I don't have the resources to go to school, to continue. We took Francis' story, we put it on Facebook, we put it everywhere, and a young doctor is here, I will not mention his name, and he said, I too come from Kanungu, and I am orphaned like Francis. I want to sponsor Francis to get his education to be a physician. And today, Francis is at Namugongo Senior Secondary School pursuing his vision of becoming a physician. And that's what it means to have collective leadership. Thank you. Thank you. Can we please clap for Francis again? And Dr. Nwahaf, who is here. There was a young lady, I could go on and on, who wanted also to become a nurse. And there's a young lady in here called Shia who said, oh, I have seen that young girl sell bananas. You've shared her story in Uwero. And I know she passed. What did she say? She got a second grade, a little bit below the first. She's like, she still has potential. Let's support her too. That girl too is in secondary school. And those are the leaders that we believe will one day transform Uganda. That one day when you're sick, Francis will treat you. And Francis has a dream, by the way, that he wants to go back to his community to build the first hospital in that community. That is collective leadership. So I want to end here because I don't want to take too much of our time. There's so much coming. But I wanted to share these life stories that always make me remember why I'm here. Never to forget that. Martin Luther King Jr. walked the journey we know very well that was so hard. And everybody said it couldn't happen for blacks to be liberated. But he said something that for me always reminded me that the work we do at Teach for Uganda, the work that we do as education partners, the work we do as champions matters. He said, all labor that uplifts humanity, my phone, all labor that uplifts humanity has dignity and importance and should be undertaken with painstaking excellence. Hear me, friends, gentlemen, ladies, all labor that uplifts humanity, that helps a Francis raise up, that helps a Kasaga raise up, that helps a Shira raise up, that helps a Ras raise up, has dignity and has importance and should be undertaken with painstaking excellence. At Teach for Uganda, we vow to that, our board vow to that, and we hope that through today you can see that painstaking excellence in the work that we do. We thank you, we welcome you, God bless you, and have a wonderful time, and let us go beyond tomorrow.
Thank you so much, James, for setting the tone for today afternoon and evening. Now, the Teach for Uganda vision is that one day, every child will attain an equitable quality education. I'm going to make you repeat that after me so that all of us understand why we are here, right? And why we are thinking beyond 5. So, one day, every child will attain an equitable quality education. Okay, let's start from the beginning, right? One day, every child will attain an equitable quality education. That's why we are here. It's a very aspirational vision, but it is also achievable. And it is achievable because when passionate leadership builds great teams, the kind of work that Teach for Uganda is doing changes systems and creates lasting impact. And if you want to understand why this is important, I would like to invite the children from Nabutaka Primary School, one of our partner schools, to come and recite a poem that they have prepared for us. So join your hands with me as we invite the children from Nabutaka Primary School to come and recite that poem.
A journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. The Chinese says, Teach for Uganda, you started this journey with us, and in our lives we will stay. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. We shall jump every hurdle. We shall climb every mountain to reach our fullest potential. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. We started by alphabets, vowels, and sounds. A, E, I, O, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N. And now we speak, sing, read, and write. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. We started by identifying numbers, and now we add, we subtract, we multiply and divide. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. With a little hope in our hearts, with love and care you give us, with faith that nothing is impossible, we will lead the world tomorrow, for we are tomorrow. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. We will lead you to a tomorrow of peace, love, unity, innovation, and creativity and possibility. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step, for we are tomorrows. I love the mountains and the lofty valleys. I love the ripened fruits and the lakes and hills. I love to live with all those wonderful things. I love the mountains and the lofty valleys. I love the ripened fruits and the lakes and hills. I love to live with all those wonderful things. Dear Earth, thou art world, we need you for generations and generations. Can we plant trees, grass, and flowers to hold you firm and keep you off leaping? If that helps, I'm going to plant trees. That throwing waste and cutting trees anyhow clog and choke the free movement of the ecosystem. If I have to help, I'm going to manage waste and the environment sustainably. I know you are hitting. Your seasons have changed. Disasters are pending and I'm scared. I want to change my behavior towards you. Tell my friends about how to make you happy, and together we will protect you for generations and generations. We are the citizens of Uganda. Our country depends on agriculture. We want to plant more trees, but we don't have enough money to buy. Please help us. We are the citizens of Uganda. Our country depends on agriculture. We want to plant more trees, but we don't have enough money. Please help us. Enkumbi ya matendo, enkumbi ya matendo, enkumbi ya matendo. Esangiwa mu Uganda, esangiwa mu Uganda, sangiwa mu Uganda. Enkumbi ya matendo, enkumbi ya matendo, enkumbi ya matendo. esangibwa mu Uganda, esangibwa mu Uganda, esangibwa mu Uganda. Sisi masima binya simba miti tukuma obutonde bw'ensi. Sisi masima binya simba miti okuma obutonde bw'ensi. Sisi masima binya simba miti okuma obutonde bw'ensi. Enkumbi y'amatendo, enkumbi y'amatendo, enkumbi y'amatendo. Esangibwa mu Uganda, esangibwa mu sangibwa mu Uganda. Sisi masima binya simba wefunire sente. Sisi masima binya simba wefunire olugoye. Sisi masima binya simba kitoke wefunire akamere. Enkumbi y'amatendo, enkumbi y'amatendo, enkumbi y'amatendo. Esangibwa mu Uganda, sangibwa mu Uganda, sangibwa mu Uganda. Enkumbi y'amatendo, enkumbi y'amatendo, enkumbi y'amatendo. Esangibwa mu Uganda, esangibwa mu Uganda, esangibwa mu Uganda. Aisa abasajja kabaka wangale n'enkumbi ku bbega.
Oh, come on, people. Teach for Uganda started in 2016 and recruited its first cohort of fellows in 2017. They were placed in a couple of schools in Ruwero as teacher leaders. You cannot imagine how much impact has been achieved over the last 6 years. I would like to tell you, but we don't have all of this afternoon. However, we prepared a video for you that summarizes that impact. So I'd like to ask the guys at the machines to play that video to show you a window into the impact that has been achieved over the last 6 years.
Charlotte, it's 6 years. How do we end up here?
Yeah, I actually ended up here because I got inspired by this lawyer in a novel I read, and he quit his, career to support homeless people, and he was, doing this work, and it really transformed him into a better person. And at that moment, I realized that I also wanted to do the same for my life. And I think that informed the path I took on later on in my life.
And I remember meeting you at Educate. Is that how you ended up at Educate?
Yes, actually, after that, I ended up becoming a teacher. And as a teacher, I felt I wasn't fulfilled, and I was missing something. So I decided to join Educate to look for something inspiring and challenging, and that's how I ended up shaping and developing young people to become the leaders and entrepreneurs in Africa.
And I was excited by that vision. Thanks for working on it all the way in New York. I returned after 10 years in the US, and I heard of educate and nurturing leaders and entrepreneurs. And I came because my purpose was to nurture those leaders myself, as having also grown up in the rural communities where I had lost my family of 7 and orphaned, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I remember joining you, and you were so excited about doing something that would shape their minds better. You mentioned something around they are not coming in prepared for the world of work or the future of work.
Yes, because the education system at that moment I felt was not really preparing young people for the world of work. And so I started thinking about what is the problem, and that's when I did some research and realized that about 70% of children who enroll in primary drop out before completion. And what makes it worse is that about 7 out of 10 children cannot read and write.
Yes, and you shared deeply that even their arithmetic, by the way, their mathematics was so low that about almost over 60% of those were not able to complete a P2 mathematics question. And that took us to, I remember us going with you to Tuntumura, and you said we needed to follow this child, Nyakato.
Yes.
And I remember you followed this child, and it really changed our life.
It did, it did. And that's one of my fondest memories, because I had to walk 10 kilometers, to shadow Nyakato and experience what she goes through as a student in that school. And when I got to her home, I found her mother, who had really big dreams for Nyakato. And I think while I was, on that journey with her, she mentioned something that really transformed my life and also informed the way that we train and recruit fellows currently. And she mentioned about this teacher, Margaret, who really cared deeply about her, and she always shared with her a snack at break time, and that's the reason why she braved the rain that moment.
Yes, she would come in the
so
rain.
that she can come and meet teacher Margaret.
Yes, and she would come in the rain and she would be so drenched, but that teacher still inspired her to stay in school, even walk those distances.
Exactly.
Do you remember also when we walked to the cow's office, Mr. Gakwandi, when we shared the vision and he said, "You young people, I wish that this vision had come 15 years earlier," and he quickly signed the MOU for us to launch in Luwero.
Yes, and that's when we actually went on to really develop and train these young leaders that we placed in the primary schools in Butuntumula sub-county. And they started improving the learning outcomes of children and also transforming the communities.
Yes. I remember very well actually when we are hiring these young people, especially at Mara University, the guild president did not even want to apply, but when we shared the story of that child and he chose to apply immediately. Do you remember how we've been able to work with some of these communities and the changes that have happened so far in these communities?
I think for me the biggest change that that we were able to realize was when Charles and Carol went into that Mwanji community and mobilized the community to return their children to school. And the enrollment grew from 88 children to 350 children. And the community was excited about our fellows, and they wanted to support them so that they can improve the standard of the school.
Yeah, I remember also that when we visited Charlotte, the teachers also shared, and the headmaster shared about how the motivation of the teachers in this school had improved because they were looking at what Charles and Carol were doing. And also the children, remember we took our friends and partners and the amazing projects that they were doing, and their numbers had really shot up in terms of their learning outcomes.
Exactly.
So for me, I think that's what has excited me even to stay this journey for this long.
Yeah, and for me, when I look back, I remember some of our accomplishments as Teach for Uganda. One of them is really being able to see the children read and write.
Yes,
You remember when we
yes.
had just started, the kids could not read, some of them could not even write their own names. But by the end of the 2 years, the kids had started reading, they were confident, their self-esteem had,
Had
risen.
blossomed.
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
And that for me was a moment when I realized that our model indeed was making a difference in the lives of
Yes,
children.
and for me, really, the other piece, Charlotte, is the parents, like the parents' involvement. Remember when we joined, some of the parents were so disengaged, they were not supporting the children. In our communities, kids were not eating, and by the time the fellows were able to finish, the kids were now having a meal because of the parents' engagement in the school.
Exactly, and their mindset changed as well. There was a mindset shift that took place because now they realized that education is really important, and they started valuing it, and they started supporting the children as well as the schools. And that's how we got to see children feeding at school, seeing their, their learning outcomes improve, as well as their confidence.
Yes, and also we have to credit our fellows because that wouldn't happen if they weren't walking miles and miles to be able to visit the parents and to meet them where they are. I remember even one parent shared that for the first time, I've never seen any teacher visit me.
Exactly.
Now I see them coming every day, so I'm forced to bring my son to school.
Yeah.
Remember that?
And that's really amazing. And moving on, I feel like there are certain things we need to address as Teach for Uganda. I mean, our education system has a lot of challenges.
It has.
We all agree to that, right?
It does.
And so moving forward, there are certain things that we feel that we could change or we could influence so that we can really have a great education system.
Don't we wish that for all our kids, Charlotte, especially for your children and my children?
Exactly. And one of them, I feel, is the way we recruit teachers. And I think Teach for Uganda moving forward, we want to be able to influence how teachers are recruited and selected, into their teaching positions. And we've learned from our network of over 60 partners, right? Yeah. And we have really great practices that we can share with the Education Service Commission so that they can be able to leverage on that and bring in the best quality teachers in the system.
Wouldn't that be wonderful, Charlotte?
It would.
And I pray, as our ministry always says, that they will be willing to learn with us and learn from our impact. And for me, Charlotte, what really inspires me is how we coach and train our teachers.
Yes.
And I think with the coming, now there's UNITE, Uganda National Institute for Teacher Education. Yeah. And with that coming, I hope that they will be able to see us as partners with them in how we shape the way teachers are trained and prepared to really change the learning outcomes of our children.
Exactly. I totally agree. And I think we should position TFU to become one of the suppliers of continuous professional development for the teachers.
And I think that would be fantastic because ideally I believe that the teachers, as they always say, there's no education system that is greater than its teachers.
Exactly.
Yeah. All around with our 30,000 parents that we'll be working with, together we are galvanizing the collective leadership that we hope so that all our children have a bright future, the potential that they deserve.
Exactly. And I think you've spoken about collective leadership, right? Collective leadership is a key for us to realize our vision of one day all children will attain an equitable quality education. And once our alumni are working together with other like-minded people, they'll be able to transform the education sector from within and without.
Yes, you know these sectors, right?
So that all these children in Uganda, all children in Uganda, irrespective of their socioeconomic status, can have access to a quality education that will enable them to thrive and fulfill their potential.
So I did say that I was the first person that James and Charlotte hired. And I can tell you for sure that in all my years working in education, I have not met two people that are as passionate about education as these two. The last 6 years were the ones that we're celebrating today. So tonight was about two things. One is celebrating our journey of education, of impacting Uganda's education system. You know, I think I still have stage fright, so you will forgive where. This video that you just watched is a clear example of what happens when people are dedicated to the work of change. The last 6 years have been dedicated to a new dawn. But you also heard Charlotte and James talking about collective leadership, right? And that's the commitment of Teach for Uganda Beyond 5. So we are also excited to reveal to you our rebrand. But before we get into that, I'd like to ask the guys at the machines to play something. At this moment, I am excited to reveal to you our rebrand and the launch of the I Am Tomorrow campaign. To do that, I would like to invite the co-founder of Teach for Uganda, Ms. Charlotte Iraguha, to walk us into the future.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. We are so delighted to have you here today, and thank you for honoring our invitation. I think you're all wondering about what you've just watched, I'm not sure what is going in your minds, but I'm here to explain to you the rationale behind our new look. So at Teach for Uganda, we believe in collective leadership, and we believe that the only way we shall attain our vision is through harnessing the power of collective leadership. And there's no way we can actually attain that unless we work with stakeholders. And so that's why we believe a lot in working with our stakeholders at the grassroots. I hope they can show you the stakeholders as I walk you through the slides. So our stakeholders include the government of Uganda. We have our partners who fund our work, and we have our wonderful team at Teach for Uganda, the communities who represented by the parents, teachers, head teachers, local leaders, and also the officials at the district. Then we have our fellows, our children, and then our alumni. And when we break those two, when we break the stakeholders into two, they form what we termed as the synergy blocks and the growth blocks. So the synergy blocks in this case are the government, the partners who fund us, and other key development partners, the communities, without whom we cannot actually do our work. And then the growth blocks represent our fellows, our alumni, our children, because every year they keep increasing in number, and that's the only way we can be able to attain our vision. And when they come together and integrate, they form our new Teach for Uganda brand. So that's the rationale behind our TFU logo, and I hope that you've been able to understand how important it is that we need to work together with key stakeholders, especially the government of Uganda. We know that we cannot do our work without you. Our partners who fund our work, we need you to support our work to be able to maximize our impact. And the parents, of course, you cannot really divorce them from the picture because they are very fundamental to the achievement of our vision. At this moment, I would like to recognize these building blocks that make up our new TFU brand. And I would like to invite our partners represented by DHL and Ernst & Young and the US Embassy, if they're around. Please wave to. I would also like to ask Tabra Andrew to stand up and wave. He's standing in for the commissioner who didn't make it. I would also like to invite our fellows to stand up and wave. Our development partners, I see Grace from More Child Holland, and Ian Clark, please wave. Clark Jr., yeah. I would also like to invite our alumni who are here today to also stand and wave. And then our children. Okay. Thank you very much.
I thought Charlotte would do it, but I remember something that we used to do. We used to tell the fellow, everybody, please stand up. We tell the fellows, fired up, ready to go, right? So I'll say fired up, you say ready to go, because this rebrand, this collective leadership, this is the future, yeah? So when I say fired up, everybody replies. Mm-mm. Exactly. Fired up. Fired up. Fired up. Good. You can have your seats. Now, I think is a good time for us to give about 5 minutes to the band to play something, and then we will return. So now you can talk to each other, get to know your neighbors. If you don't already, if you want to take a break or walk around, you have about 5 minutes to do that, and then we will restart. Thank you.
Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Hey, cold, cold, it was so cold. Me want someone fi have and fi hold. In that night when I'm feeling goodbye, hold me up, squeeze me up, make me feel right. Forget the problems, everybody have them. Tonight me gonna feature them, and I just wanna lay with you. We're an island in this sea of confusion. Just a little tenderness at the end of the day is all a woman needs to take her fears away. Just a little tenderness with the lights down low, and the world is just two people, and love is all we need to know. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Say, everybody has got an idea of what's right for me. I'm just trying to survive and live my life positively. This one wants to educate me, and that one wants to dominate me. The other one wants to wear me down. Speaking from both sides of the mind, I just wanna lay with you. We're an island in this sea of confusion. Just a little tenderness at the end of the day is all a woman needs to take her fears away. Just a little tenderness with the lights down low, yeah. And the world is just two people, and love is all we need to know. Na 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 na. I just wanna lay with you. Be an island in this sea of confusion, yeah. Just a little tenderness at the end of the day is all a woman needs to take her fears away. Just a little tenderness, yeah, with the lights down low. And the world is just two people, and lovers all we need to know. Tenderness, at the end of the day, is all a woman needs to take her fears away. Just a little tenderness, yeah, with the lights down low, yeah. And the world is just two people, and love is all we need to know. Oh my baby, baby, baby. If I tell you now, say, would you keep on loving me? If I tell you how I feel, would you keep bringing out the best in me? You give me the sweetest taboo. Yeah. Say, you give me the sweetest taboo. Too good for me. There's a quiet storm, and felt like this before. Yeah. There's a quiet storm, that is you, baby. There's a quiet storm. Never felt this hot before. It's giving me something that's taboo. Yeah. You give me the sweetest taboo. Yeah. That's why I'm in love with you. You give me the sweetest taboo. Too good for me. I'll do anything for you. I'll stand out in the rain. Say anything you want me to do. Don't let it slip away. Oh, say there's a quiet storm. I never felt like this before. There's a quiet storm, that is you, baby. There's a quiet storm, I never felt this hot before. It's giving me something that's taboo, yeah. So you give me that sweetest taboo. That's why I'm in love with you. You give me the sweetest taboo. Too good for me. It go away. Got a biggest heart. Sometimes I think you're good for me. Yeah, yes, yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you thought we were done, no, we aren't. I would now like to invite James Kasaga back onto the stage to launch the I Am Tomorrow campaign, which is a continuation of the future that Charlotte started us on a few minutes ago.
Hello, hello, hello. You can hear me? Yeah, thank you, Benjamin. Thanks, a wonderful band. So I am here to share with you some of the growth blocks that make. Is the mic on? Okay, I think I figured it out. It's good? Yes. I hope you can hear me very well. I'm grateful to you all, but I wanted to just take you back to what we do at Teach for Uganda. We work with young people, the energy is high, and I'm feeling a bit like maybe the music is making us mellow. So when we get fellows, before I introduce them, we say, Teach for Uganda, and with vigor we say, fired up and ready to go. Because the communities they are going to are hard. So if you're not fired up and ready to go, then the communities will actually go before you. So let's go together. Teach for Uganda. Before I hear the energy, like the young people, I will not let you go. Teach for Uganda. Teach for Uganda. Okay, thank you so much. So in the next 5 years, Teach for Uganda has ambitious dreams. We are going to be hiring, recruiting, selecting over 500 fellows. Over 500 fellows in the next 5 years. Thank you. Thank you. So if you're a fellow, a potential fellow, a leader out here, we'll be looking for you. In the next 5 years, we hope to have graduated over 300 alumni leaders. Thank you. Thank you, our board chair. I can see that's not easy work. Thank you. And in the next 5 years, we hope to have impacted over 90,000 children. Over 90,000 children getting a quality education. And we can only achieve that through our vision of the I Am Tomorrow campaign. So can we launch the I Am Tomorrow campaign?
A citizen of Uganda or a Duffy alumni below the age of 35, completed at least a bachelor's degree in any discipline of study, and achieved a minimum cumulative grade point average of 3.0, you are eligible. Teach for Uganda is recruiting university graduates and young professionals to join its 2-year fellowship program and become full-time teacher leaders in high-need rural UPE schools. The fellowship program comes with a monthly living income and health insurance for 2 years, access to global and local network of like-minded, passionate people working diligently to improve the lives of others in their community. Apply today to be part of this life-changing experience. Visit our website www.teachforuganda.org for more details or call 0772 043 650 or 0756 541 016. I am tomorrow. Are you a citizen of Uganda or a Duffy alumni below the age of 35, completed at least a bachelor's degree in any discipline of study, and achieved a minimum cumulative grade point average of 3.0? You are eligible. Teach for Uganda is recruiting university graduates and young professionals to join its 2-year fellowship program and become full-time teacher leaders in high-need rural UPE schools. The fellowship program comes with a monthly living income and health insurance for 2 years, access to global and local network of like-minded, passionate people working diligently to improve the lives of others in their community. Apply today to be part of this life-changing experience. Visit our website www.teachforuganda.org for more details or call 0772 043 650 or 0756 541 016. I am tomorrow.
Listen, if you're not fired up, we're leaving you behind. You're staying behind. But also, if this vision, if this dream does not excite you, I don't know what will. The work of Teach for Uganda is not just about fellows and children, but both co-founders have told you about how government is an important partner in all of this. And we have a testimonial recording of the district education officer of Mayuge, Mrs. Julia Helen Nabirie, talking about the work of Teach for Uganda and the impact that the fellows and the organization are having in the district. Let's hear her testimonial.
I am Alin Jalianabirie, the District Inspector of Schools, Maige District Local Government. The partnership between Ministry of Education, Teach for Uganda and Maige District Local Government has been good and is still good because we were engaged from the start. Ministry of Education through BEI, that is Busoga Education Initiative, introduced Teach for Uganda to Maige District Local Government after the period release of 2018, where Busoga region performed very poorly in the national exams, and Mayuge was part of those districts that gave very poor results. They sent them to Mayuge, and all the stakeholders were involved. We appreciated and were involved in selection of the schools. Priority was given to the least performing schools. And the low learning outcomes that were looked at mainly were in literacy and then numeracy. So we shared as a district, we shared with the communities. Schools were visited, not from the district, but at their local areas where they are. And then needs assessment was done. So the partnership was owned by the stakeholders. That's why I think it has been able to work. That's how we've seen the improvement in the learning outcomes in those schools that were selected. For the last 5 years, before 2018, that were performing really poorly. So as we speak now in 2020, at least they are not among the worst performing. We appreciate that now this is our own and is also embraced by the schools. The partnership can be strengthened by one, sharing the success stories in the schools that they are implementing with other schools, because they are working in many schools, but they are all not at the same level. There are schools that have excelled in reading. There are schools where children have excelled in skill development, because it was a component that was brought in. If, for example, Isenda Primary School is doing well in literacy, can share with Vokizibu and Ivonda, though there is also some rate of improvement in literacy. Parents have brought children to Isenda Primary School because they really see their learning through play and enjoying. If they still continue with the way they are doing it, because the fellows come from different professions, they are not teachers, but it's like now they are used and they work with the teachers well. At first we had a fear. You know, these are graduates, our teachers are grade 3. And it's like you could find head teacher says, now this one is an engineer, but they saw that these people are down to earth, that they can work with the teachers, and it has helped us to know that now children, if you ask them, what do you want to become in the future? They say, I want to become an engineer. But at first they would say, I want to become a teacher. So now they see there is diversity in the professions, and their diversity, like how Chimoli in Isenda has helped children use the local environment to develop materials. So strengthening is for them scaling up, because it has now led to other schools feel neglected. Then sharing the success stories within the patterning schools and also other control schools. Then more trainings. What needs to be done is almost like strengthening the partnership. We pray that they don't go. As government, we've been coming up with the policies. We invite head teachers, tell them this has to be done. But then for them, they get the policy. Yes, language policy. You are saying local language is not good, but they go and sell it to the local young mother, all the mothers in the villages. They appreciate why something has come up, involve the community, appreciates why such an intervention has come. Then at the end of the day, it is easy for the children to take it up. So we pray that Teach for Uganda adds more fellows in schools and continues with the trainings and work with us. But it's our prayer that I can't wait to learn spreads to all schools, because it's something, a company that came in very late, but every person is yearning for it.
And I am happy to say that thanks to James's revelation, the district inspector of schools' prayers are getting answered under I Am Tomorrow. Please clap. I feel like now is a good time to invite back the children of Nabutaka Primary School, who prepared something for us for this very moment. So please come on stage and take it away. Thank you.
It's of great pleasure, joy, and great excitement to welcome you, our dear visitors. It's of great pleasure, joy, and great excitement to welcome you, our dear visitors. It's of great pleasure, joy, and great excitement to welcome you, our dear visitor, our dear guest of honor, Honorable Wendy. We are very happy to be with you, our dear guest of honor, Honorable Wendy. We are very happy to be with you, our dear guest of honor, Honorable Wendy. We are very happy to be with you. Great pleasure, joy, and great excitement to welcome you, our dear star. Joy and great excitement to welcome you, our dear visitor. You are highly welcome. Central down and feel at home. You are highly welcome. Central down and feel at home. You are highly welcome. Central down and feel at home. You are highly welcome. Central down and feel at home. You are highly welcome. Central down and feel at home. You are highly welcome. Central down and feel at home. You are highly welcome. Central down and feel at home. You are highly welcome. Central down and feel at home. We are very happy to receive you here today on this occasion. This is a marvelous day. I'm sure you will enjoy the show. Very happy, very happy, very happy. We are very happy to receive you here today on this occasion. This is a marvelous day. I'm sure you will enjoy the show. Very happy, very happy, very happy. We are very happy to receive you here today on this occasion. This is a marvelous day. I'm sure you will enjoy the show. Very happy, very happy. My name is Angel, a simple girl. I live at Kaluva Town. I'm sure you will enjoy the show. Very happy, very happy, very happy. We are very happy to receive you here today on this occasion. This is a marvelous day. I'm sure you will enjoy the show. Very happy, very happy.
My name is Caleb, a simple boy. I live Hati, Nautaka village. I'm sure you will enjoy the show. Very happy, very happy, very happy.
We are very happy to receive you here today on this occasion. This is a marvelous day. I'm sure you will enjoy the show. Very happy, very happy. My name is Ramla Esmolo Galo. I live at I'm sure you will enjoy the show. Very happy, very happy, very happy. We are very happy to receive you here today on this occasion. This is a marvelous day. I'm sure you will enjoy the show. Very happy, very happy, very happy. We are very happy to receive you here today on this occasion. This is a marvelous day. I'm sure you will enjoy the show. Very happy, very happy. We are happy to receive you. Welcome, welcome. We are happy to receive you. Welcome. We are happy to receive you. We are happy to receive you. We are happy to receive you. Welcome. We are happy to receive you. Welcome, welcome. We are happy to receive you. Welcome, welcome. We are happy to receive you. We are happy to receive you. We are happy to receive you. Welcome.
My name is Joshua. Welcome.
Welcome.
My name is Joshua. Welcome.
Welcome.
My name is Joshua. My name is Joshua. My name is Joshua. Welcome.
Welcome.
We are happy to receive you.
Welcome, welcome.
We are happy to receive you. Welcome, welcome. We are happy to receive you. We are happy to receive you. We are happy to receive you. Welcome. My name is Kalebu. Welcome.
Welcome.
My name is Kalebu. Welcome.
Welcome.
My name is Kalebu. My name is Kalebu. My name is Kalebu. Welcome.
Welcome. We are happy to receive you. Welcome. We are happy to receive you. Welcome. We are happy to receive you. We are happy to receive you. We are happy to receive you. Welcome.
Are you not entertained? The joy of being a child. Mostly, the joy of being a child that's learning in the way that these children are learning. The joy of being a child from Nabutaka Primary School and spending this Thursday afternoon at the Serena Kampala Hotel. In 2017, TFU graduated 12 fellows. Over the last 5 years, the number of fellows recruited exceeds 150. These are incredible young leaders who, through impacting the education of children such as these, are also getting first-hand experiential learning that will turn them into advocates for socioeconomic change in whatever spheres they choose to go into. I'd like to invite Fiona, an alumni of Teach for Uganda, cohort 2, to briefly share her experience as a fellow of Teach for Uganda.
Our distinguished guests,
our beloved partners, the TFU family, the board, TFU staff, fellows, and my dear alumni, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Mukisa Fiona, and I'm the Vice President for the Unison Leaders Association, an umbrella that covers the TFU alumni. Currently, I'm working as an instructor at St. Bakita Vocational Training Center in Agago District in the north. I'm here to share my experience as a fellow. In 2019, my journey began as a fellow. My first day in Mitimito Primary School in Mitimito Community, Mayuge District, didn't leave me the same. Going there for just 1 week during our boot camp, it opened my eyes that there was a lot more that we needed to do to help other children in school, especially in the rural community. Being placed in a family of eight children, staying with their grandmother, that is the family that hosted me for the 1 week. We shared experiences growing up in a different district, and then also going to Mayuge for my first time. The kind of life they were living, just reflecting on what I was going through or what I went through as a child too. It gave me a deep thought of staying in Mitimito to help the children. Though at first it wasn't thought of, actually I hadn't given it a big thought. I was just there, maybe to get employment, but I didn't really think through of what impact I was going to create in Mayuge. Then going back in 2020 as a full fellow after training, I reached a class of very malnourished children, sorry to say, but it is the reality, all dressed up in tattered clothes, no books, no shoes. I only spotted like 2 uniforms out of the 100 students plus in the classroom. I even thought, was I in class? Was I in a school? But it was the reality. Reaching the classroom, I greeted my learners. With plastic smiles, they stared at me. I thought maybe they didn't want to respond to me, but it wasn't true. I had used a language that they weren't familiar with. Back then, I had made a lesson plan to go and teach a primary 4 class, but I was shocked. I had planned for wrong people. So the first lesson didn't go as expected. I had to go back to the drawing board, knowing the kind of people I was going to attend to. So I had to start afresh. That is when I realized that my children really wanted to say something to me, but they couldn't because of language barrier. They wanted to at least smile and maybe give in something to me, but then their stomachs were demanding. I told them to get out books. Maybe we write down something, but they didn't have books. Not because they didn't want, but still because the parents couldn't afford. For those who had the books, they were tattered. And the reason was they didn't have where to keep their books while coming to school. On unlucky days, if the rains poured, the books will be wet. So that gave me the reason to stay in Mitimito and become a solution giver, not a lamenter. So I thought, since I'm in the community, since I had gone to the community, I needed to bring change that we've been singing to the government and it hadn't reached there. I knew it starts with us who are in the community, because for them, they don't know what is really taking place. But since I was there, I knew what really needed to be done. That is when I started the Keep My Book, Keep Me in School. I wasn't really good at making bags, but I went to Google, and I learned how to make bags. Not in cotton clothes, or because I couldn't afford. Still, we all didn't have money. But we had sacks around, and sacks were cheap. A sack would go for 1,000, and one sack would make 4 bags for the students. So we began on that campaign. Together with my students, we started making our own bags. I didn't make the bags myself, but I wanted to make with them so that they also learn. I began with my class, primary 5, and later on, primary 5 students taught other pupils in other classes. So we were there partially. Still, the sacks weren't really durable. We got chance to make cotton bags. We would use our hands. We are gifted, by the way. We just need to try our gifts. We are gifted. Every one of us has a gift. It's just you to try it out, and you'll see the fruits of it. Besides that, students weren't eating food at school. Parents would send children to school until giving reason, your government children. So they weren't really interested in knowing what happens at school. They weren't involved in their children's education. So we really thought it was wise enough to make them understand that we all have roles to play in our children's lives. That is when we started making the home visits to all pupils' homes. For the first time in so many years, we fellows will accompany our pupils to their homes on a daily. Every evening, you get a child, go home, and during that time, you utilize it, talk to the parents about the challenges that are at school and what they ought to do as parents. And by the time we left, like in Mitimito Primary School, we were growing vegetables, we were growing food, and children had their gardens. Me as a fellow now, and my other colleagues, also encountered some challenges. It wasn't a walkover. My first day in my house wasn't bad. Then a few days after, it started raining. Staying in a leaking house, when it rains, you have to stay awake, mop the water out of your house. But remember, you have a lesson in the following day. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. There was no electricity in case you needed it. You had to forego all that you would do with the presence of electricity. But it wasn't just to a waste. It was worth it. No shops if you had something you really wanted urgently. You have to call a colleague far away. But that wasn't really bigger than what we were there to do. If you couldn't afford fish, then it means you'd only eat food without sauce because there was nothing there at the moment. But through all this, it helped us work together with our communities, work together with our parents, teachers, and even the pupils themselves. Because most times we think children don't have a say and they don't have what to give on table. But if we all work together, the students, the teachers, the parents, and all stakeholders at the district, then we can make a great change. We can make a very, very, very big change if we are all involved. Now, the opportunities as a fellow, I've gotten a chance to network with so many people on the globe, like the Teach for All network. I have now friends and colleagues from Teach for Ghana, Teach for Nigeria. And I got a chance to be a guest speaker during the global conference, Teach for All Global Conference of 2020. And we're talking about reimagining education. It was a great chance to be, because I had never attended one. Then I've also had a chance to learn more, being a leader, and then having influence without authority in the communities where we are, to cause positive change in the communities. And currently, I'm an instructor helping child mothers, girls and former war victims, and then the Lord's Resistance Army abductees, former victims. And we are helping girls realize their full potential, restoring realistic hope to them, and then we know with the fruits that Teach for Uganda has, the world is changing and the world is getting bigger. Thank you so much for listening.
But do you know how difficult it is to find young people in this country of the caliber of Fiona and convince them to spend 2 years in a village doing work that they actually weren't trained for, because they are, accountants, engineers, social workers, and Teach for Uganda is asking them to go into classrooms and inspire children to maximize their potential. It's not an easy job. That's why they need to be celebrated. The fellows and alumni of Teach for Uganda are also the future of this country because of the work that they do. And now I would like to invite David Moses Okello, the head of programs at Teach for Uganda, to launch the Alumni Association.
Thank you very much. Protocol observed. Before the launch, I would like to make a remark, especially tying to what Fiona has just shared with us, especially from the alumni perspective. So as Teach for Uganda, one of our programs is the alumni program. And in the alumni program, we have strategically identified 3 pathways. We've called them the 3 critical pathways for our alumni. And so whatever we are doing, we build the capacity of our alumni to grow themselves across the 3 pathways. And the 3 pathways are education, social entrepreneurship, and leadership and community, or rather leadership and policy influencing. So those are the 3 pathways for the development of our alumni. Now, in terms of measurement, but also being deliberate in building the capacity of our alumni to grow in the 3 pathways, we have drawn targets as Teach for Uganda alumni program, whereby in the next 5 years, we expect that 65% of our alumni, the over 300 that James spoke about, will be in the education sector. That is 65% in the next 5 years. Again, in the next 5 years, we also do hope that 30% of those alumni will grow themselves in social entrepreneurship. And lastly, we do also expect that the 5% will make significant contribution in leadership and policy influencing. So those are the 3 strands in terms of the critical pathways that we want to grow our alumni into. And we are very purposeful in building their capacity to do that. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I am very privileged to share with you or to unveil the Unison Leaders Association. The Unison Leaders Association is an association of the alumni. And currently we have 32 alumni, that is cohort 1 and cohort 2. So they form the Unison Alumni Association. And so the fellows, after graduating, are expected to join the Alumni Association. The association has been registered with support from Teach for Uganda. We are facilitating the process, and then we expect the association to operate independently. So we've been able to support the registration processes and other mechanisms to make sure that we formalize the association. And so we've been able to accomplish that. And then as part of building the leadership structure for the association, we've also been able to support processes of putting up a leadership structure whereby we have the president of the association, we have the vice president, Fiona, who just left here, and then we have the general secretary, we have the treasurer, we have publicity, and we have somebody who coordinates projects within the association. So that is the structure of the leadership, which we believe will do great work to grow the association for the alumni for a long period of time. Would like to unveil the instruments of power. At some point in the next 2 minutes, I'll be inviting James to come and support with the transfer. Because like I said, we want the association to operate independently from Teach for Uganda. Because these are educators. And so we want them to grow, to dream and imagine many things using the experiences that they've been able to get through the 2-year fellowship and out of the fellowship, so that they are able to continuously impact the communities and transform the lives of children that we support in low-income communities. And therefore, as part of the instruments of power that we will be witnessing here tonight during the launch of the association will be the Constitution. So the association has a constitution and it's fully approved. And the members of the association were part of the constitutional development process. That is one of the instruments of power that we'll be handing over to them. Secondly, we also have the certificate of registration. So Teach for Uganda has been able to support the registration formally of the association. And then thirdly is the memorandum and articles of association. So we also have that document as an instrument of power. And then lastly is the identification certificate, what is usually known as the TIN number or the TIN certificate. So there is also that. I will leave one surprise for James to come and unveil here. Ladies and gentlemen, having said that, I would like to invite James to come forward as we launch the Unison Leaders Association. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David Okello Moses. Thank you, Tim. For our new people, let me hear the fired up. So at Teach for Uganda, again, we say, Teach for Uganda, fired up and ready to go, because this is major. Teach for Uganda. Are you really fired up? Teach for Uganda. Teach for Uganda. Thank you. So with this wonderful honor of launching our alumni association, the Unison Leaders Association, it's a great honor. And I wanted to really speak to one thing, and then I will hand over the instruments of power. But before I do that, let me share about one thing. Most people ask us at Teach for Uganda, what happens after the 2 years? Well, you have all these wonderful young people put in the classrooms. They are causing impact, teaching teachers, bringing on communities, leaders, bring on parents. What happens after the 2 years? Ladies and gentlemen, today, the vision for Teach for Uganda for the future starts. It starts with the alumni. Because as Teach for Uganda, we can only do little. But with 100, 200, 300 scattered across the country, catalyzing the impact that Fiona shared, we believe that one alumni will reach one community and we shall see the transformation for our nation. And that's where we believe in collective leadership. So thank you. With that, I would love to call our two board members, Ms. Sheila Kangwaje and Mr. Oscar Semoya Musoke, and also our partners, if there's someone from the US Embassy, someone from DHL, and someone from Ernst & Young, and to come and really hand over the instruments of power. We do that because we can't do this. Those are the building blocks that make Teach for Uganda work. So if there's someone from the US Embassy, please come. And those, maybe I call someone else who in our potential partners. Please allow me to call Annette Choncho from Stanbic Bank. Sorry to put you on spot. And then Charity from Airtel, so that we can hand over these instruments of power. Yes. And then, can I also invite the leaders of the Unison Leaders Association? Can we have you, the alumni, please? Faster with time. So, yes. Can you come on stage? Okay. Collins. So Collins here is the president of the union. Turn and look at the people. We are giving you leadership, sir. So here, Colin receives the certificate of registration. And so would you please turn it on? You can stand there, Collins. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that certificate of incorporation. No, there, so he can receive it. He receives it from you. Yes, yes, yes. You pass it on and they receive it. Okay. And you take a picture with them. Yeah, my hope is that it goes around, because with many hands, we believe that we are handing over to him and he sees how much is behind him. He needs to be accountable. They all need to be accountable. Is that okay? Thank you. So here is the certificate. That was the permit, right? Yeah, so this is the certificate of registration. That was the certificate of incorporation. There you go, Annette. So the many hands, as it passes, you guys realize that these leaders will keep you accountable. So thank you. Yeah, we can just give them. So here are the copies of the Constitution, so you can pass them on. And each of the leaders will have a copy of the Unison Leaders Association as a copy to remind them of their mandate. Yes. The certificate. Yes. So here is also the memorandum of understanding. Thank you, thank you. Please clap for them. And this Unison Leadership Association was formed by them and with our support, and it will be independent. And finally, we believe that when you give birth to a child, and as some of you are parents, you don't just kick them out of the door like that and tell them, you go and let the world take you over. You do something to start them over. And Mr. Oscar Semoya Musoke knows that, because he's a teacher and a parent. And yes, yes. 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 And so here, ladies and gentlemen, is a dummy check from Teach for Uganda to start them over. So thank you to our partners. Thank you to our partners. Thank you to our friends. Thank you to Teach for All. Thank you to our board members. Thank you to our communities and parents. Thank you to our children for this vision. It's a dummy check of $2.5 million for them to start with in the Unison Association. No, it is. Did I say dollars? No, 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 no. I said 2.5 million Uganda shillings. Thank you. The glitch means that our partners, we need to raise $2.5 million to ensure we scale the alumni. So thank you all, and we wish you all the best. Collins? So with that, ladies and gentlemen, let me request the president of the association, just 1 minute, Collins, and share your remarks. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Protocol observed. I'm Collins Amanyire, the president of Unison Leaders Association, currently working as a head of ICT department and instructor at St. Bakita Vocational Training Center in Kalongo, Agago district. I'm very privileged to stand here as a Unison leader, heading that team, and very many more that are somewhere else. Good evening. I acknowledge and appreciate Teach for Uganda through the Alumni Office for the support they have given us to kickstart us on some projects. This is not the first thing we are going to be doing. We have already been doing something. One of it is to ensure continuity of our learners after primary. They go to secondary. Some of them do well, but they don't have the resources to continue. Through the Alumni Association, we have been able to secure some partnerships with schools who agreed to take on some of these learners to higher levels, and we intend to scale that up. On top of that, we also have those who drop out of school due to several challenges. Our plan is to have them acquire some hands-on skills and business skills so that they're able to run personal businesses and get some survival for themselves, and in return support their families, and they also be able to take their children to school because they will have something to take care of them. And then the other thing is us to continue motivating those that we have been with in class previously. We will be visiting continuously and encourage them to keep pressing on and grow their dreams to reality. I therefore call upon you, our dear Teach for Uganda partners, to give us more opportunities and a platform to serve this nation. Teach for Uganda alone can't scale this in the next 5 years to the entire country. But me personally, I'm now in Agago, another person is somewhere else, and if we are together and advocating for these learning opportunities for learners across the country, it's not only Mayuge and Eastern region that are struggling. Several other parts of the country are struggling as well. We need to replicate this elsewhere through the various channels, and we believe we have the capacity to reach out to several others. So when we come to you in your offices, in your various capacities, please welcome us and give us the necessary support for us to scale up and ensure that all children acquire an excellent, equitable education in Uganda. Thank you so much.
I have a joke about power handovers, but I am Ugandan, so let me leave the joke, eh? All of this work that you're seeing, all of the impact that you're seeing, tonight and the future beyond 5 wouldn't be possible without the board of Teach for Uganda. Okay, yeah, so I just looked at myself on the screen and I knew Salim had left, so I was wondering why he's still here. All of this work wouldn't have been possible without the support of the board. So I have been asked to, the band was coming next, but I've been asked to give the band 5 minutes because we've had a couple of speeches and I think people just need a small break. So just 5 minutes, guys, and then we'll have a word from the board.
Empisa zo bwezikyuseko zirabika nga zinnemye kyolowooza kigwesebo nga ne waffe sigobwangayo ekikunjooza kigweddiya n'otontwala ng'omuntu osaana omanye tinange nkyali n'abasajja nabo bangi o mama babulwe empisa zo bwe zikyuseko zirabika nga zinnemye kyolowooza kigweddiya nga ne waffe sigobwangayo ekikunjooza kigwesebo n'otontwala ng'omuntu osaana omanye tinange nkyali n'abasajja nabo bangi o mama babulwe mwe abasajja mwakula ebyabasajja bijja kunnema nze omukazi eyerekereza guno omutima ne gubikula buli kalungi ne kuyiza bannange kikyesakola naye maama okunzigwereza omutima n'embuba n'omusajja gwe njagala simulabako empisa zo bwe zikyuseeko zirabika nga zinnemye kyolowooza kigwesebo nga ne waffe sigobwangayo ekikunjooza kigweddiya n'otontwala ng'omuntu osaana omanye tinange nkyali n'abasajja nabo bangi o mama. Thank you.
Can somebody say, okay. Thank you very much. I have another song for you, the band. Yes. And I'm going to request you to stand up. I'm a teacher by training. We're happy to receive you. Welcome. We're happy to receive you. Welcome. We are happy to receive you. Can I request you to stand up over there? I'm the head teacher. Happy to receive you.
We're happy to receive you. We're happy to receive you. We're happy to receive you. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I am Andrew Muchibi, a board member of Teach for Uganda. I'm a businessman in Uganda, in the area of hospitality. Some of you who visit Golden Tulip, the Canaan Apartments, and many others. Let me take this opportunity this evening to recognize the government of Uganda, represented by the Ministry of Education, that are here with us. Allow me also to recognize the CEO and co-founder of Teach for All, Wendy Kapp. She trained me to pronounce her name, Wendy Kapp, the vision bearer of what we are celebrating today. You didn't hear that. In our midst, we have the CEO and founder of Teach for All, the founder of Teach for Uganda, and all the other networks across the globe. Wendy, you are welcome to Uganda. We're here because of your vision. We're here because you, once upon a time, as a student in university, you sat down and thought big. And I believe when you walk around Africa and you see all these networks all over the globe, you feel happy that you've achieved some of your dreams. Our donors that are here with us, my fellow board members, I call them pioneer board members. The team at Teach for Uganda, our fellows, our foot soldiers. I call them the foot soldiers. Fellows, wherever you are our foot soldiers. The alumni, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me, in a special way, to introduce my board. And I'm going to request my board members to join me up here. Oscar, please come over. Sheila, where are you? Sheila, Madam Sheila Kangwaji. We can clap for him, please. Remember, I'm the principal of Teach for All, for Teach for Uganda today. So when I mention a name, kindly clap. The reason why I'm introducing the Pioneer Board, it is now 5 years. We're making 5 years, isn't it, James? We are making beyond 5 years. We are called upon to serve on this board. And we're only 3 board members. The journey has been rough. But we thank our Lord, we thank our partners, we thank our donors for the 5 years that we've covered. On my extreme left, I have Mr. Oscar Semoya, the principal of Taiba High School, International High School. Is it International High School? International School. This gentleman has worked tremendously to make sure that we have all the policies that we need in the governance of Teach for Uganda. And Oscar, I want to thank you so much for the effort, for your time that you've given to Teach for Uganda. Sheila, Madam Sheila is not around. She's on her way. She's a communication specialist. The branding, the information behind there, she has worked so hard with the team at Teach for Uganda. Please, you can have a seat. My role here is simple, and I don't want to waste a lot of time. And a few things that I want to note. According to the World Bank report, 260 million children are still out of primary and secondary school. Did you hear that? 260 million children are still out of primary and secondary school. And because of this, we have Teach for All and we have Teach for Uganda. Did you know that education is the power that drives development? An instrument to reducing poverty, an instrument of improving health, gender equality, peace, and stability. In life, all of us strive to have good health. We strive to have peace. Our brothers and our fellows in Ukraine are not going to school anymore. There is no Teach for Ukraine. There is. But I'm saying with the war in Ukraine, they are not enjoying. So there is no peace. Poverty. Everybody talks about poverty in Uganda. In Africa, it's about poverty. So at Teach for All and Teach for Uganda, we strive that one day, every child, not only in Uganda, but in the world, will have access to equitable quality education. And that's why we're here today. To our donors, this is what we are striving for. We want to live in a community where all of us are educated. We want to live in a community where all of us have access to quality education. We appeal to you that please give, and we will serve and deliver these milestones. To our donors once again, at Teach for Uganda and as the board, we're very strict with the management of finances. And I can give you assurance that all the money that you give to Teach for Uganda is accounted for. Without the signature of the board, they can't access money. This is an assurance that I'm giving, that even when we leave as the Pioneer Board, we have guidelines, we have policies in place that will take Teach for Uganda to the next level. At Teach for Uganda, it is our wish to be sustainable. And we have a vision of being sustainable because we cannot come to these meetings to beg for funds. What have we done as board? As board, we are creating the first kind of institute in this part of East Africa, the Teach for Uganda Leadership Institute. We are acquiring 25 acres of land, and on that land we are building a leadership institute. It will have the training centers, it will have accommodation, it will have guest houses, it will have everything that you need. Many of you have been to Chankwan's Leadership Training Institute because it's something that we know about in Uganda, okay? This is 10 times bigger than Chankwan's. We have the funds, and we have the team to execute the job. We'll approach our donors at a good time when we start putting up the infrastructure. But I can assure you that we've acquired the land. And why are we doing this? Because we need to be sustainable. We need to be sustainable in what we deliver. To our fellows that wish to join, I am tomorrow. 500 fellows that are going to join us. As board, we have resolved that we understand the conditions in which you operate. We've heard your stories for a very long time. I heard your story last time, Fiona, when you said, you know, you didn't know how to cook. You had there was one who said there was a big hole in the door. There was a lot of challenges and many other complaints that have come to the chair, that the pit latrines and all these things that you're not used to. So we've decided as board that we need to have an impact in all the communities we go to. We are going to provide what we call the SATO pans to some of the communities that we operate in. SATO pans are provided by Water for People, so we're going to do a partnership with Water for People so that we provide SATO pans to all those communities where you operate. To the fellows, we are going to give you a startup kit. A startup kit will have your torch, your bag, anything that you need, helmet, your medical kit, your mosquito net, your mattress, your stove, your solar lamp. Why? Because we recognize the amount of work you do out there for us. Without you fellows, we cannot have Teach for Uganda. So we recognize that. But a humble request is, and even to cohort 3 and 4, I think we are going to allocate something for you. So don't feel that you're left out. We are going to allocate something for you. We've already planned it, and I think management will communicate that. But when we send these items to you, fellows, please remember, we have a job to do. And the job to do is limited. You have only 2 years to create an impact in that community. Okay, we are training leaders. You never know you'll be the next honorable woman area member of parliament, and these days you can go to any part of the world or any region of Uganda and become an MP, as long as you have created impact. So we believe that in the next 10 years, most of our fellows will have impact in all the communities. There's a lady who is in Agago, from the central to all the way to that place. There's Kablangit, there's Moroto, there's Kotido, and all those regions. And we are challenging the team at Teach for Uganda that we need to move out. We need to move out, and we need to recruit as many as possible. So the management at Teach for All, as board chair, it is my wish that we increase the number from 500 to 1,000. We can do this. We are fired up, and we will deliver. We are fired up, and we will what? We are ready to go. And finally, let me take this opportunity for allowing us to serve you at board. It is a great honor to serve at such a great organization. Wendy, the second time I'm meeting you, we met in New York, and I heard your story. These people here need to hear your story. I think we have a lot of Wendys in here. Africa is big. East Africa is big. And maybe one of the things that I've forgotten, which is passionate, and this is passionate. I believe in federation. Federation of this region. And I've tasked the team at Teach for Uganda, Charlotte, and Kasaga, that we need to have the East African Federation of Teach for All within this region, with headquarters in Uganda. Yes. Why? The headquarters for the Assembly of the East African Members of Parliament is in Arusha. The central bank of the East African community will be in Uganda. What else? The rest are all over. So we need the head office for Teach for All East Africa in Uganda. I wish you a very good celebration. And remember, beyond 5. Beyond what? What will happen, Mr. Kasaga, beyond 5? You know, I'm the teacher on duty. What is going to happen? Please have this. And Charlotte, can you have a microphone, please? Please come over. I'm the teacher on duty. Please hurry up.
We shared...
I'll start with the lady, okay? Yes. So before you, I have the... You know, they didn't introduce these two people. Before you, I have the... Before you, I have the managing director. Be ready to clap your hands, okay? Before you, I have the managing director of Teach for Uganda. And that's Charlotte. And James is executive director of Teach for Uganda. And I'm asking them a question, that what is happening beyond 5 in 1 minute. What's happened beyond 5? I start with Charlotte, yes.
Yeah.
You can come over here, please. Over there, in the center there. Beyond 5?
Beyond 5, we have a very ambitious target of having a 15% increase in the learning outcomes of our children. And we also want to be able to have 65% of our alumni go into the education sector, and then 15% go into the social entrepreneurship. Is it 15?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then the 5% into policy influencing. So those are our ambitious goals for the next 5 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, James, beyond 5.
And beyond 5, we had a dream of 500 fellows by 2026. Now you've multiplied it by 2, Mr. Muchibi. Now there are 1,000 fellows. So you're going to help us raise the money.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You can take your seats. The donors you've had, enjoy the evening, and may the good Lord bless you all. Okay. All right. Where's the music? Okay, go ahead for 1 minute. At this moment, please go ahead. At this moment, ladies and gentlemen, please raise on your feet and clap for Wendy as she comes to the platform.
Thank you so much, everyone, and for welcoming me here. Thank you, Mr. Muchibi and Sheila. We miss seeing you on the stage here, but applause for you as one of the pioneering board members, and Oscar, and thank you for the beautiful welcome from the students, and really what the whole team has done to enable me to come back to Uganda. The last time I was here, my most vivid memory was standing on the lawn of the US Embassy and meeting the true pioneers, the first, now alumni, but the first fellows who had just signed up and probably didn't fully know what they were getting into. And I think back to that moment and then what I have seen and experienced here over the last few days. And it's truly stunning to see the progress that has been made. I'm so happy that we were able to hear from you, Fiona. And I say that because yesterday I spent many hours listening to not only Fiona, but many, many other fellows and alumni just share for literally hours what brought them to teach for Uganda, what their experience teaching in communities was like, what they learned through that experience, and what that experience has led them to do. And what I heard in those few hours gave me enough inspiration and energy and fuel for years to come in this work. And I think we heard a bit of that powerfully spoken through Fiona's words. I wish I had a video that captured it all for you. It was so inspiring to hear people who have so many other options from such a diversity of backgrounds, many of whom overcame a lot of parental pressure and friends' pressure and everything else to decide, this is what I'm going to spend my next 2 years doing. And to hear them then speak about what they learned through that experience. One of the fellows said, I think this thing is addictive. And that really summarizes what I heard from all of them as they described, first of all, many of them themselves have come to this because they've experienced these inequities we're addressing in one way or another. But then they saw even more evidence of the magnitude of the challenge facing so many children and young people and families and communities. And at the same time, they saw the incredible potential of their students. And person after person articulated this in different ways, just realizing how brilliant their students were. And they said also that they realized their own power to change things. So what they were really articulating was how they themselves were transformed and the fact that they'll never leave this work as a result. And to hear from the alumni how fully formed their passions and convictions are. And if you talk with them, you know, there are alumni who are just determined advocates for girls' education, for digital literacy, for, you know, environmental education, for so many different pieces of this puzzle. So I say all that, I mean, I think back to when I first, as Mr. Muchibi said, thought of this idea 33 years ago as a college student when I was a senior at Princeton. And honestly, I could never have understood then the true power of the idea. I think it's come even more kind of to life when starting about 15 years ago, and Mr. Muchibi said, I was the founder of all these. No. This is an idea that has magnetized so many extraordinary people and so many extraordinary social entrepreneurs. And as I've shared with some of you, I wasn't thinking about the rest of the world when I got started, and for many years, until about 15 years ago, when within 1 year, I met 13 incredible people from 13 different countries who said, we want to see something similar happen in our countries. And that's what led to the launch of Teach for All, a network of all these pioneering, independent, locally led organizations that are working to live into that big idea in their countries. But what I think I couldn't have understood was what I heard yesterday among those fellows and alumni. I've seen that same movie playing in so many communities in my own country, in countries all over the world, where that same conversation is what I've had with so many other teachers and alumni who have come to this work. And I say that, so what I could hear yesterday was the impact, like, first of all, the caliber and commitment of the people drawn to this work, you know, the impact they have on their schools and communities. One of the things they were articulating in so many different ways was just how valued and appreciated they feel by the students and other teachers and families in the communities where they're working. I've heard all over the world that same level of transformation, that people come to this thinking this is going to be 2 years and leave knowing they can't leave the work because they've seen just how much potential kids have, just how significant the inequities are, and realize that they have to make this their life's work. But I say all this because I've seen this same movie playing for 30-some years now in communities in my own country, for 14 or 15 years in other countries in different parts of the world, I also know what is coming next. Because what I've seen is that transformation in those fellows and leaders does build into the collective leadership that is necessary to change whole systems. You know, I think back to my own country when we started placing teachers in urban and rural communities, which I've talked to some of you who are shocked that this is true in the United States, but believe me, I mean, we were placing teachers in areas where some of the statistics sounded really similar, where we would meet 8th graders, 13-year-olds, who were on a 2nd grade level. And nothing was changing about these systems. And now I can think of 20 urban, rural communities or more in our country where we've seen just dramatic changes in the aggregate outcomes for kids in communities. Graduation rates jumping by 20 or 30 points, proficiency levels, college going, college graduation rates rising. And now I've seen similar impacts in communities in Peru, in communities in India. We saw such similar effects in other developed contexts across Europe. So that is what you have the potential to do. But it will take, as Colin said, as Mr. Muchibi said, and as so many others have said, it will take scaling so that not just a few, but many of Uganda's most promising leaders decide to channel their energy instead of into, I mean, we need some of that energy in banks and consulting firms and tech firms and oil and gas firms, but we need so much of that energy channeled into our schools and communities to build the critical mass of leaders who will work from classrooms, from positions of school leadership, ultimately in the ministries, who will pioneer the social enterprises, who will get into policy, who will move into the private sector and be the civic leaders we need. Ultimately, this is a big systemic challenge, and it will take a lot of leadership around the whole ecosystem around kids. It will take collective leadership. And if we come together behind Teach for Uganda, this is such a promising approach for cultivating that collective leadership. In an earlier meeting today, someone said, you know, Uganda is very high on the priority list for all of these global development agencies. And that's wonderful. Like, it's always good to be high on the priority list. But ultimately, it will be Ugandans who address Uganda's challenges, right? It will take a lot of Ugandans making it happen. And this can be such a source of the locally rooted and globally informed leadership we need to revolutionize the education system in Uganda and create the freedom that Kasaga spoke about earlier. So I am so inspired by where you all are, belatedly celebrating your 5th anniversary, maybe in your 6th year. I think where I was and where we were at this point, this is such complex, challenging work, and I really want to send a massive congratulations to Kasaga and Charlotte and the whole team and the pioneering board members and the pioneering fellows and alumni and all the partners, the schools, the students, and all the funding partners who have enabled such a brilliant and strong foundation to be built. I cannot wait to see what you accomplish over time and to learn from what you do and to be telling your story to many other countries and communities around the world in the years to come. So congratulations and good luck, and I look forward to visiting in another 5 years. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Wendy, for those remarks. It's an honor to listen to you, to your story, and to know that you're such an inspiration to all of us. Your work inspires all of us to continue doing what we are doing. So it's not a party if there's no cake, right? Huh? It's not a party if there's no cake. So now is cake time. So I'm going to request, all of us can't fit on the stage. That's the problem. So let's see who comes on the stage. Of course, the children get to come on stage. So very quickly, my little ones from Nabutaka Primary School, please come close. Actually, we don't even need the stage maybe because there's enough space down here. So the children to start with, of of course, Charlotte and James, Wendy, the board. No, I'm not calling the team. Joram, I can see you, but no. The alumni and the current fellows and partners. That means everyone, eh? So the good thing is that we are supposed to take a group photo after the cake. And if everyone is here, that means we don't have to come back, right? But, so let's start with the children, as you know. So can we move the cake a little to the front, so that we have enough space for people to stand there? Children, eh? This side. Come and stand this side. So we'll have enough space that people can even stand here. So Charlotte and James, please join us. Sheila and the rest of the board, please join us. Wendy is already here. The partners, I'd like to request you to join us. Fellows who are in the audience and alumni who are in the audience, please come. Who have I not called? The team. Okay, the team can also join us. The Teach for Uganda team, please join us. Guys, chap chap. Is everyone who's supposed to be here? I still see a few people standing at the back there, please. Okay, so I'm going to begin the count. Yeah? So I'm going to begin the count. We are celebrating 5 years, right? So we'll start from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and boom! Congratulations! Please don't leave, please don't leave, please don't leave. Everybody else who wasn't part of the photo, please just come and join us so that we can take one group photo. Let's take a group photo.
Of the year. So bring your good times and your laughter too. We're gonna celebrate your party with you. Come on now, celebration. Come on. Yeah, celebration. Let's celebrate. Bam, bam, bam. Come on, yeah. Celebrate good times. Come on. Let's celebrate, celebrate good times. Come on. Yeah.
Oscar.
Ooh, celebrate good times. Come on. Celebrate and have a good time. Celebrate good times. Come on. Yeah. Say, there's a party going on right here. A dedication lasts throughout the years. So bring your good times and your laughter too. We're gonna celebrate and party with you. Come on now. Celebration. Let's all celebrate and have a good time. Come on now. Celebration. We're gonna celebrate and have a good time. It's time to come together. It's up to you. What's your pleasure? Everyone around the world, come on. Let's celebrate. Let's celebrate now, yeah. let's celebrate. Yeah, celebrate good times. Come on.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming to celebrate this event. So as you get served your cake, we'll have a few photos taken. We've literally come to the end of the event, but there's still cake, there's still drinks at the back, and there's still lots of networking to happen. So, but we need to take a few photos as we finish, so I'm going to read the order in which the photos will be taken, right? So I'd like to request Wendy and James and Charlotte to come and take the first photo with the board, right? So the first photo up here with the board. Those will stay and will be joined by the partners. After the first photo, the second photo will involve everyone who was in the first photo, joined by the partners. After the partners leave, we will have the alumni. After the alumni leave, we will have the children and their teachers. After that's done, we will have the team at Teach for Uganda. That's 5 photos, right? Yeah. That's it. So, so this is photo number 1. Everybody stays, and then you get joined by partners. Yes. So Stanbic, Ernst & Young, DHL, Airtel. Yeah, any partners who are here. War Child, please come and let's take this photo.
So in the same, Is that okay? Or is it too wide?
Okay, so after the board, the children from Nabutaka Primary School and your teachers, please come and take, with Children, please, 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 please. One last photo, the team at Teach for Uganda, the current fellows and alumni, everybody here. This is the last photo. Teach for Uganda team, alumni who are present and the fellows who are present. Very quickly, let's take this.
Chambeza.
yeah, yeah.